The last inmate executed in Indiana, Matthew Eric Wrinkles. He was born on January 3, 1960 in Evansville, Indiana. In June 1994, Wrinkles' wife Debbie and the couple's two children, Lindsay and Seth, moved into the Evansville home of Mark and Natalie Fulkerson, Debbie's brother and sister-in-law. Wrinkles filed for divorce on June 30, 1994, and Debbie obtained a protective order that same day prohibiting Wrinkles from having any contact with her and the children. At a provisional divorce hearing on July 20, 1994, Debbie agreed to a rescission of the protective order, and Wrinkles and Debbie agreed that Debbie would retain custody of the children, but Wrinkles would have reasonable visitation rights. Wrinkles and Debbie agreed to meet later that day at a local fast food restaurant, so that Wrinkles could see his children, whom he had not seen in over a month. However, Debbie and the children never showed up. Wrinkles called his divorce attorney, who told him that although nothing could be done that night, because the courts were closed, he would take care of it tomorrow. Wrinkles, still frustrated, called the Fulkerson home to speak with Debbie, but she was not there. When Debbie returned later that night, she called Wrinkles to set up a meeting for the next day, but there was no answer. Around 2 a.m. on July 21, 1994, Wrinkles parked his truck a block away from the Fulkerson home, put on camouflage clothing, painted his face, and armed himself with a .357 Magnum revolver and a knife. He then climbed over a fence into the Fulkersons' backyard, cut the telephone wires, and kicked in the back door. Wrinkles first approached Mark in his bedroom, shooting him 4 times in the presence of his 3-year-old son. Awakened by the gunshots, Debbie entered the bedroom hallway and saw that Wrinkles had shot her brother. Debbie, who had already grabbed her gun for protection, shot Wrinkles in the arm and then fell to the floor. Lindsay, also awakened by the gunshots, entered the bedroom hallway and, upon seeing her father about to shoot her mother, pleaded, "Dad, please don't shoot Mom." Wrinkles responded, "Shut up," and then shot Debbie in the chest. In the meantime, Natalie ran out the front door. Wrinkles followed Natalie onto the front porch and shot her in the face at close range. Subsequent autopsies revealed that Mark, Debbie, and Natalie each died from gunshot injuries. Police apprehended Wrinkles later that morning in Warwick County. The state charged Wrinkles with 3 counts of murder that same day and filed a notice of its intent to seek the death penalty on July 28, 1994. The trial court appointed salaried, part-time public defenders, Dennis Vowles and Michael Danks, to represent Wrinkles. The trial was held on May 15 to 19, 1995. The defense theory at trial was that because of a combination of Debbie depriving Wrinkles of access to his children and his methamphetamine addiction, Wrinkles broke into the Fulkerson home to get his children and shot the victims only after Debbie shot him and the other victims pointed guns at him. The jury found him guilty as charged. The penalty phase was held on May 20, 1995, and the jury returned a recommendation of death. A month later, the trial court, finding that the multiple murder aggravator outweighed the mitigators, imposed the death penalty. Wrinkles appealed his convictions and sentence, and reaffirmed. Wrinkles versus State. Wrinkles then filed a petition for post-conviction relief, which the post-conviction court denied. This appeal ensued. Wrinkles first contended before the post-conviction court that counsel were ineffective for not adequately investigating, developing, and presenting an insanity defense. Wrinkles asserts that if counsel had presented an insanity defense, the jury would have found him guilty, but mentally ill, and consequently it would not have recommended, and the trial court would not have imposed, the death penalty. Attorney Vowles testified at the post-conviction hearing that their guilt phase theory was that Wrinkles had been deprived access to his children, that he was manipulated by his deceased wife away from seeing his kids, that she had marshaled her family in support of her efforts to keep Mr. Wrinkles away from his children, that there had been arrangements made in a recent domestic relations hearing for him to be around his kids, that she had violated the intent and spirit of that agreement, which has happened just a very short time before her death, that he was a frustrated man who had no control over access to his children, that he went off, that it just got to be too much for him. Wrinkles has failed to prove that the evidence as a whole leads unerringly and unmistakably to a decision opposite that reached by the post-conviction court. On November 3, 2009, after the Indiana Supreme Court declined Wrinkles' final review motion, an execution date of December 11, 2009, was announced. A week later, Wrinkles appeared as a guest, via remote feed from the prison, on a segment of the Oprah Winfrey Show, where he was confronted by members of his victims' families. Wrinkles' last meal was prime rib, loaded baked potato, pork chops with fries, rolls, and 2 salads with ranch dressing was served on December 9, 2009. Indiana serves the traditional last meal 3 days prior to execution, maintaining that a condemned prisoner tends to lose appetite as the time of execution approaches. On his way to the execution building within Indiana State Prison, it was noted by fellow inmate Rick Parrish that Wrinkles shouted, "I'll see you fellas," down the cell block corridor as a last goodbye. His execution by lethal injection took place as scheduled. The time of death was 12:39 a.m. on December 11, 2009. He was 49 years old. Wrinkles declined to make a final statement, saying only, "Let's get it done. Let's lock and load. It's plagiarized, but what the hell?" Those were his last words. Thank you for watching Death Row. Today's video is sponsored by Nobility.co.uk, the leading company in selling legal titles in the United Kingdom. Get a 10% discount in any purchase by mentioning Death Row.
Here in the UK, there are 2 types of titles. Firstly, there are peerages, which are granted by the Queen. These are not allowed to be sold. Secondly, there are manorial feudal titles. These were once based on land ownership. However, since 1925, titles have been separate from the land itself, with the introduction of the Law of Property Act 1925. Here is the UK government website showing what titles are legal. Manorial feudal titles are regarded as inheritable property, which any nationality worldwide can purchase. Companies selling seated titles or titles with tiny plots of land whilst sounding good are in fact by law novelty souvenirs, not real, genuine titles. Legally approved by UK trading standards, barristers and a UK law lord, no other company has a law lord ruling, 100% legal and proper. You can add your title to passports, bank cards, etc. Even American and Canadian citizens can add the title to their passports on the observation page. All UK and foreign titles have passed 12 legal security checks before offering them for sale. Buy with confidence from the #1 title broker in the world, established 1996. Compliant with Privacy Data Protection Act 2018, the Honours Prevention and Abuses Act and Law of Property Act 1925. All processed through UK solicitors. Strictly private and confidential.